Hey guys, I am Whitney. I'm Chris's wife. If some of you don't know me, hi, it's good to meet you. I hope to meet you in person soon. If you do know me, you might have forgot what I looked like as I haven't been at Impact in a few weeks. I have been just taking some time to work and get some things done at home, and I miss you guys. But it's kind of cool because all of that has a lot to do with what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today, which is kind of like when you're in the middle of something. And so we're at the beach. We have had the most amazing time just kind of recharging. I love coming to the beach because when I'm at home, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I am surrounded by the mess all the time. And so I always have things on my to-do list of like what needs to be done, what I have not gotten done. And so it's nice for me to be at the beach where I'm not surrounded by anything that I have to get done. I can kind of let my brain recharge a little bit. But it also gives me time to think about things that I've been going through and kind of get my mind sorted out in how I'm gonna tackle my next step in whatever I'm going through. And so right now, I said that I'm in the middle of something, but like it's nothing big. I've struggled with anxiety since I had Iris. And so navigating that has been something that I've been doing. It's something that I can, identify now. It's something that I can I know when what those triggers are for me. And it's something that I don't struggle with as often as I used to. But it's still a prominent part of my life. And so sometimes when I get in the middle of something or a storm or a minor little rainstorm, I know that my anxiety is going to be a little bit higher. And so being here has helped me to just kind of think about like, okay, how can I put this into words in order for you to kind of take something from it and some practical advice that you can kind of like do something with when you're done listening to this. And so I think for me, my storm right now is nothing big. Some of you guys are going through huge storms. And I would love to know about those things so I can be praying for you and helping you through those things. But for me personally right now, I'm not going through a huge storm, but I am in the middle of some self-discovery. I am in the middle of a lot of anxiety and learning about myself. And learning about myself without other people defining who that is for me. And that has been very hard for me because my entire life, I have felt like that I had to be a certain person for other people to like me. I've had to look a certain way for other people to like me. I've had to fit a mold of something that I don't fit into for other people to like me. And so trying to discover who I am in all of that has been a little bit difficult for me because I've had to transform a lot of my thinking, a lot of my heart, and I've had to transform a lot of the ways that I treat people because I always felt like I had to conform to a certain way of life or a certain mold in order to be accepted or to be loved. And then when I gained a relationship with God, that added an even more of that onto it because then I felt like I had to fit a mold to impress God and to impress people who also followed God. Because when we are Christians or when we decide to follow Jesus, how I felt is now I have another standard of life that I have to live up to that I'm never going to be good enough at. And so it also added another layer of guilt and shame and pressure onto my back. And so I just constantly felt like, that I had this huge weight on my shoulders. And I think whenever you decide to follow Jesus and you ask Jesus into your heart, you think all that's going to go away when really it just adds a whole nother layer of pressure on top of you. And so that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now, kind of what I'm going through. On top of that, being a mom, trying to raise my girls in a way that they don't have to deal with as much of the issues that I have dealt with. My issues that I've had to deal with are not a lot. I've just been trying to be confident in who I am and who God made me to be versus who the world says I should be. I have had an awesome upbringing. I have amazing family. I have an amazing husband and kids and in-laws, and everybody pushes me to be a better version of myself. But for me, I have been trying to figure out who I am. Some of you guys are in totally different situations. Some of you guys are in situations where There is some abuse going on. You have very unhealthy relationships that you're living with. You are seeing things at home that some people will never see in their lifetime. You are experiencing things in life because of choices that you've made that some other people haven't experienced yet. You are making choices based on how you're feeling, and you're making choices based on what you think can make that pain or that or even the good feelings feel a little bit better. And so whatever you're going through, big or small, I want you to know that first of all, we're here for you. If there's something at home that needs to be addressed or that you are not safe, talk to us about that, because that's a storm that you do not need to deal with on your own. No storms we need to deal with on our own, but if you are not safe, obviously talk to us, talk to your small group leader. But today, I just want to be talking to you guys about when you're in the middle of a storm and you kind of don't know what to do, because as humans, we want to have control. And sometimes when we're in the middle of a storm, we don't have control. And we get very irritated at the fact that we are out of control of whatever we're going through, and we don't like to wait. I am the queen of impatience, and so I understand that waiting is very difficult, and we want answers now. We live in a world where we can pop popcorn in the microwave in 2 minutes and it's done and ready for us to eat. We can put dinners in the microwave for 3 minutes and they're ready for us to eat. I do this often because toddlers, I don't cook a lot anymore. But we have an instant world. And so when it's easier for me, why not pop it in the microwave? So I think when it comes to our emotions, I was talking to Chris about this a couple weeks ago. When it comes to our emotions, I think that we think in our struggles that we can pop them in the microwave and get them out 2 minutes later and expect for them to be all better. We can go to sleep or take a nap or go for a run and we can expect for them to be all better. And what I want you to understand is that life is not like that. Things are like that in this world. We do have a lot of instant things in this world, but life is not like Amazon. It doesn't have 2-day shipping. And I'm telling you this as I am taking my own advice, because I want things just as instantly as you want them. I want answers. I want the life that I want. I want the things that I want them instantly. And I want to feel the way that I want to feel and how I think I should feel instantly. And so I want to talk to you about something interesting that I saw yesterday that really helped me in my middle right now of the storm, to just kind of sit back, take a deep breath, and relax a little bit. So like I said, we've been at the beach since last week, and we have really tried to cut off. And before I came to the beach, I want to tell you some emotions that I was feeling. Maybe some of you will relate with me, but I like to be completely transparent. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So here I go. I'm going to tell you some emotions that I've been feeling for the last couple months. I have been feeling confusion. I've been feeling confident. I have been feeling a lot of fear. I've been second guessing myself a lot and who I am. I've been feeling happy. I have felt sad. Sometimes I feel really mad. Sometimes I feel really understanding and patient. Sometimes I feel super empowered, like I am ready to take on the world and whatever it throws at me. Sometimes I will feel empowered and then 20 minutes later, I'm over it and I'm done. Sometimes I feel rebellious, like I'm just gonna throw all this out the window and I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And sometimes I feel really content. And so talk about an emotional roller coaster. I think that it's been confusing me because I feel like I should only feel one of those emotions at a time, which I do, but sometimes I can feel all of them in one day. I get very deep into my emotions. I'm very aware of what I'm feeling, and I don't like to sit in those emotions. And so for me, when I feel any of those emotions, if they're not positive emotions, I want them gone immediately. And so what I've been trying to learn about myself is that those emotions are a way of my body telling me that, like, hey, let's work on yourself a little bit. Let's identify what's going on in your body. And so when I saw this yesterday, it made me realize that no matter what I'm feeling, no matter what the emotion is, I can give up control while I'm feeling that emotion. I can let God take me where He wants to take me without having to control anything. And honestly, that gives me a huge sense of peace, because it lets me know that, first of all, my emotions are okay. Second of all, God gave me those emotions to feel. But third of all, I don't have to stay there, but I can sit there and wait for God to take me through those emotions. When you're on a roller coaster, you don't necessarily have control. You kind of let the person controlling the roller coaster do that, or the mechanics of the roller coaster do that for you. And so you don't control when you go up or down. You just kind of sit in your seat and have a great time. And so I think of like my emotions that way. It's like I need to just sit back and let my emotions kind of run its course and just understand that it's okay to feel these things. If you're a man, if you are a guy watching this, you have probably been taught or you might get it implied to you that you can't feel negative emotions because that makes you weak, and men aren't weak. Let me just tell you that is so far from the truth. Men are humans, and men are weak too, just as females are. Females, you get a huge stigma of being weak and emotional and hormonal, and let me just tell you that those are not excuses for your emotions. Your emotions are real and your emotions are valid. And so what you're feeling, men or women, I want you to know that your feelings are valid, your feelings are normal, and I'm going through it too. And so I don't think we'll ever be at a point in our life where we're not going through something like that. But I think that, you know, when we're in the middle of a storm, we wait for the end of it just for another one to start. And so if we can just grasp the fact that being in the middle of a storm is okay, I think that we can be a little bit more content with some of the negative things that we feel while we're in the middle of the storm and while we're having to wait and be patient on God to do his work. Now, if you are not a follower of Jesus, if you don't have Jesus in your heart, the coolest thing is that some of my friends who do not have Jesus in their heart, they are the most content people I've ever met in my entire life, because there is no spiritual warfare going on. There is no enemy trying to deter them from Jesus. They do have struggles. They have issues that are going on around them that are affecting their life in a negative way. But the thing is that they don't have that push and pull that you have when you ask Jesus into your heart, because the enemy does not want you to change for God's kingdom. And so some of the most content people I've been around in my life don't have Jesus in their heart. And I strive to be like those people because I want that contentment and I want that that beautiful drifting going on in my life where I can just let life take me where it's supposed to take me. And so that is where my next part comes into play. We were at the aquarium yesterday, and at the very end of the aquarium, there is a huge jellyfish display. Now, this jellyfish display is lit up with black lights. It's a very dark room. The jellyfish glow. They are absolutely gorgeous. And sometimes I'm kind of jealous of them that they just get to like chill and like float. But the interesting thing is that was a huge sign beside these jellyfish. And the very top of the sign said, "Beautiful drifters." To me, a beautiful drifter could not explain a jellyfish more perfectly, because they're gorgeous and all they do is drift. But the crazy thing is that jellyfish, they have no heart, no brain, no bones. They are 95% water, and literally they let the ocean current take them wherever it wants to take them. Wherever the current is going, that is where the jellyfish go. And they are provided food. They eat plankton. I don't know that much about jellyfish, but they are provided the nutrients they need to continue drifting. They don't have the muscles, brain, conscience to control where they're being taken. They don't have any of the components that we do to control any sort of their life. They are literally just pushed along by the current. And I was sitting there thinking, like, what if we were like jellyfish? What if we gave up control? What if we believed as Christians that good things do come to those who wait on the Lord, and we drifted along like jellyfish? Now, as a human, We do have a brain. So drifting along for us is not going to come as naturally as it does for jellyfish. But what if we took on that mindset that, you know what, when that relationship ends, when that friendship ends, when those parents get divorced, when our parents fight, when our car breaks down, when we make a decision that you have to pay the consequence for, what if in those moments where we feel like it's starting to be a point in our life where we're in the middle of a storm, what if we let God take control of those moments and just drifted along, took on some patience, and let Him take control of the situation rather than you reaching out, you controlling the situation, you basically getting what you want? What if we set in those emotions, positive or negative, and let God take you? Some things in your life right now might be positive, and you might be worried about how that's going to change your life. Some things in your life might feel too good to be true right now, and you might be scared of like, when is this going to end? You might be in a storm because things are going so good right now that your anxiety has taken over and you can't even control your emotions anymore, so you just feel scared of what's going to happen next because things are good, and that doesn't happen a lot in your life. And so if you're in a place like that where things are good right now, let God take your life and let God control what you're going through, because ultimately, as we know in Scripture, as we know in the Bible, God is the ultimate controller of our lives. He knows what's best for us, and guess what? He is the one being who loves us more than we could ever imagine in our entire mental capacity. We don't know how much God loves us because it's too much for us to understand. And so don't you think that if God is taking care of these little jellyfish who have no brain, no heart, no conscience, no nothing, don't you think He will take care of His most beautiful creatures that He's ever made, which are human beings? Even if you don't know Jesus, even if He doesn't live in your heart, don't you think that He's going to take care of you even more than He takes care of little jellyfish that have absolutely no idea what's going on? Don't you think that His current and His push of life is going to be way better for you than whatever you're going through right now? And if that is something that you believe, then that is called having faith that God has a better plan for your life than whatever you think your plan should be. And so I think that something I'm trying to take away from this is, what if I stopped my mind from going through all the possible scenarios of what the end of my storm could look like, how the outcome could look, and what if I just sat in the emotion right now and said, you know what? God's plan for my life is bigger than my own. And so let me just take the pressure off of myself and let Him do the work that He promises to do in my life. Because as a Christian, as a person who has Jesus in my heart, I have a responsibility to use the Holy Spirit to allow my heart and my thoughts to transform around the idea that God is in control, and that no matter how much I believe God is in control, I have to actually let my faith be an expectant hope of that. I was reading something, I don't remember where it was at, but it was talking about how hope, when the Bible was written and people wrote about hope, they didn't write about hope as a wishful thinking aspect like we think of hope. When we say like, oh, I hope this happens, like we are wishful thinking. We are like, oh, I hope this happens like because I think that would be really fun, or I think that'd be really good, or like I really hope this happens because that's what I really want. No, when they wrote about hope in the Bible, they were expectant of God's good work in their life, whatever that looked like. Their hope was a different kind of hope than what we have right now. Their hope was a confident expectation that God, who loves you and cares about you and sent His Son to die to save you, even if you don't know Him, that is the hope that they had, that He had, that God who did all of that for us and who still loves us that much, has a life for us that's better than we could ever imagine if we just let Him work. And so I think the beauty in the middle and in the waiting and in the patience, and I have to remind myself of this because patience is not my strong suit. Waiting is not my strong suit. But I think there's so much beauty in the middle. And the beauty that I see in the middle of storms is that the middle of a storm allows God and his complex yet simple truth to shine through. And I think that that can sound a little confusing, but God's mystery and God's beauty is so complex yet so simple that it's mysterious. And so for me, I think that as a curious person, I like to see how that unfolds, and I like to see what God can do. And sometimes I challenge God, and I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I like to see, like, okay, God, like, what's going to happen this time? And so in order to do that, what I need to do is, in my life right now, and like I said, I'm taking this advice for myself, I'm trying to be still. I'm trying to sit in the emotions, no matter if they're positive or negative. I'm trying to let go of my control over life, over the people that live under my roof. I'm trying to let go of the control that I have over my family members, over my thoughts. And I'm trying to let God work through the storm that I'm facing, even if it's a small little rainstorm. I'm trying to let God work. And I know how hard that is. But he can change our hearts. He can transform our minds if we just surrender over our circumstances and we let him take on the current and let him drift us along, just like jellyfish. Faith is it's scary. It's not just an action that you take because your parent tells you to. When you decide to have faith in God, you are ultimately giving up control of your life, and you are having faith that God knows what's best for you. And so put that into action, put that into play. We love you guys. We're here for you guys. We are in storms just as much as you are. We might not know the storms that you're going through, and if that's the case, we want to know. Message us, email us, text us, reach out. Let us know what you're going through. Let us know how we can pray for you, because even if you don't believe it, there is a God that loves you, and there is a God that has so much in store for you. And I hope that you can start to believe that and start to let your life be less controlled by you and more controlled by a God who is the ultimate healer, the ultimate lover, the ultimate all-being. He cares about you more than I will ever know, more than you will ever know. And I just hope that this has helped you in some sort of way. I hope that you know you're not alone. I hope that you know even when you are physically alone, you are still not alone. Other people are struggling around you. There's other people not struggling around you so that they can support you. And so let us know, let your leader know, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because being vulnerable is so beautiful, because that means that God can take control of your life and he can show you what he has in store for you, which is ultimately what we all want when we're trying to control our own circumstances. I love you guys. We will be back in person next week, and so we can't wait to see you. And I hope you all have a fantastic night and rest of your week.